Hi guys, Danny here. I'm back with another drone video for you. Today we're taking a look at a upgraded version of the VISUO drone that I previously reviewed. This unit has a bigger battery and promises a 20-minute flight time. We're going to take a look at this and see how it performs. So as you can see, the drone is foldable. It is a Wi-Fi FPV drone, which means you can control this using your smartphone or the dedicated controller that it comes with, and you get a live view from the camera on your smartphone screen. I'll be running you through what comes with this product. I'll also be showing you some flight footage, and then I'll be giving you my final review. As always, if you want to buy this product, you can find a link down in the description. Let's jump straight to it. The drone of course comes nicely packaged in a soft touch box. It's fairly straightforward to open, nice and simple. The drone itself is quite good looking. I think the design overall is pretty cool. I like the new design on the front with the teeth. It's quite a unique design. I haven't seen this on a drone before, so it looks pretty cool. The arms also feel relatively sturdy and click into place when they fold out. No complaints there. Overall the drone feels pretty solid and well made. And then of course the camera, which is adjustable. This is really nice if you want to get some higher aerial shots with the camera facing down. It also of course comes with a 1800 mAh battery, which is pretty large and didn't really have that much weight to it. There was this annoying sticker that I didn't like. So the controller of course is a pretty important part. It comes with this handy little manual there, and it's fully labeled. As you will see, the phone holder is built in, which is probably my favorite way of having a phone holder with these drones. It doesn't fit all phones, but for most of you I think it'll be okay. The buttons are also nice and clicky, and the controller feels of a high quality. Of course we also get a little pack of spares, which includes a charging cable, which is just a standard USB charging cable, 4 prop guards, a mini screwdriver, and they also include a manual which is actually pretty readable. What's interesting about this drone, as the same as the previous model, you can record to your smartphone or onto a micro SD. I would recommend the micro SD method, as you don't have to worry about your FPV feed stuttering at all. There are no options to choose. Simply if you have a micro SD card inserted, it will save to that. If you don't, it will save to your smartphone. The quality difference isn't huge, but in this clip you'll see this is from the micro SD. I think it's slightly better quality to this one, which is from the phone. I think it's a little bit more blown out, but it's not a huge difference. Now let's talk about how the drone performed in its flight test. I found it fairly maneuverable. It had 3 different rates, which made it easy to control even in pretty high wind. It was actually on this occasion pretty windy, so it made it a little bit harder to fly. This drone of course doesn't have optical flow positioning or GPS, so you have to constantly adjust the drone to make sure it stays in the position you want because of the wind. I did see another reviewer say this drone is extremely stable. It is pretty stable, but only if you're in an environment where there's not a lot of wind. It does have altitude hold, which worked really well. There is also a takeoff and landing button on the controller, which works really well. There is a stop and start button, which stops and starts the motors, so you can start the motors and then manually take off, which is also quite a nice touch. Overall, I found the drone quite easy to control. I am a bit more experienced with these drones as I've been flying them for quite a while, but I think most beginners should be okay as long as you don't take this out on a really windy day. So the standout feature or spec for this drone would be its battery life. It got a 18-minute flight time on 2 separate tests that I did. This was a lot of fun to actually be able to take the drone out for an extended period of time. It's definitely rare to see in a toy grade drone to have a flight time of this extent. I did worry slightly that the battery may affect the maneuverability because of the extra weight, but I can't say it was something I noticed.
One bad point about this drone that I experienced on both my flight tests is it seems to have a very short range. So when I got the drone to about 10 to 20 meters away from me, sometimes even slightly closer, there seemed to be quite a big input delay from my controller, as well as the drone very aggressively trying to land. So when I got the drone to about 10 meters from me, it would sense that it lost some of the signal and it would then attempt to land. If I quickly ran over to the drone, I could then regain control, but this just seems really bad in terms of control distance. I really didn't feel like I could safely take this drone far away from me by any stretch of the mean. It's nice that you probably wouldn't have any flyaway problems for this drone, as it seems to descend and try and land as soon as it loses connection, but it does this very aggressively, which does kind of kill my fun a little bit. Now of course we should talk about the camera. The Wi-Fi FPV feed seemed fairly strong most of the time, but of course I wasn't able to fly the drone very far away from me to test the range of the Wi-Fi, but from what I was able to get, I found the camera a little bit average. I don't really think it's much different from the previous VISUO drone. It does seem to be a little bit more stable and not have as much jello in it, but the quality is a little bit lacking. It's picking up the scene pretty well here because it's a very nice day in the UK at the moment, so the footage has turned out not too bad. You can get some decent aerial shots if you take the drone right to the edge of its capability, but this isn't really much. All of this footage was taken from the micro SD card. If you are going to be filming directly to your phone, you do have to bear in mind that any interference will also show up on your video, so this is definitely a plus side to using the micro SD slot.
So this is definitely an upgrade from the previous VISUO drone that I reviewed. The 1800 mAh battery performed pretty well. I got a 18-minute flight time. Of course, this is 2 minutes less than the 20-minute flight time stated on the website, but I've always learned to shave off a few minutes from these drones. They never quite perform to the same specifications that they are listed as, which is a bit of a shame, but 18 minutes nonetheless is a very good flight time. This is pretty rare on a drone of this size and of this price point. As the same as the previous VISUO drone, they've kept a very similar design. I actually quite like this little design on the front. It's quite cool looking and stands out amongst some other drones that I have. The foldable wings are really nice. They feel well made and sturdy. The lights that are on the wings are also really nice and bright. Even in daylight you can see these quite clearly. I haven't tested these at nighttime yet, but I suspect these will be plenty bright enough for you to see which way the drone is facing, so this is definitely a plus. I was pretty impressed with the dedicated controller that came with this drone. I like the built-in design of the phone holder. It's really nice to not have an extra piece that you need to carry around and attach. I think this is going to be suitable for most of you unless you have a very large phone. I have a Galaxy S7 and it fit pretty nicely, didn't move around and was very sturdy. So overall the design of the controller was really great. It's fully labeled and worked most of the time pretty well. I did have some problems with some input delay when the drone was still pretty close to me, like 10 to 20 meters. That was a little bit of a bummer, and you also saw that I did have some issues with the drone losing connection in as close to sort of 10 to 20 meters. It would very aggressively, when the signal got weak, the drone would start to automatically land. I had to quickly run a bit closer to the drone. I regained stronger signal and I was able to regain control, but this really doesn't have a lot of range in it, which is probably the weakest point of this drone, but it's still a lot of fun to use. It performed quite well in high wind and I was still able to control it fairly well, as you saw in the video. So I have no problems recommending this drone. I would just say that you're not really going to be able to use this for high aerial shots as it has such a short range. But overall most of the features work pretty well and the drone is pretty solid. The camera was a little bit disappointing, as you saw. It doesn't really seem to be much of an upgrade from the previous model, but for a toy grade drone it's really not too bad, and the price you're paying, I think it's hard to go wrong with this product. Compared to a lot of other drones, it performed pretty well and it's a pretty well rounded drone. It's just a shame that it has such a short range. I really hope more drones go in this direction of using larger batteries. It was so much more fun being able to fly this drone for a long period of time. Often a lot of toy grade drones will only fly for maybe 5-6 minutes, even as low as 4 minutes, which can be a little bit frustrating. Just as you start to get the hang of the drone, it then runs out of battery, you then have to switch it out or maybe even buy another one. So I would definitely recommend, if you pick up this product, you get at least 2 batteries. There's an option for 2 or even 3 batteries. I would also say if you're thinking of getting this as your first drone, you may struggle a little bit if you're flying in an area where you typically have quite a lot of wind. This doesn't have position hold or GPS, so you constantly have to adjust with the controls to keep this stable. It does have altitude hold, which works pretty well, but I think for most of you this will be fine, especially for those of you who are a bit more experienced. The lack of range might be a bit frustrating for some more of you slightly experienced drone pilots. As always, if you'd like to buy this product, you can find the link down in the description. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more videos like this one. And of course, I will see you in the next one.